Have you ever found yourself waking up, staring at the ceiling, feeling like you've lost control of your life? Maybe it's the overwhelming flood of thoughts of doubt, anxiety, or regret, taking over the start of your day. It feels like a battle, doesn't it? The struggle to shake off that cloud of uncertainty and find the strength to rise again. But what if the key to a more confident, grounded life is right within your grasp? What if you could reframe your mornings and with them reshape your entire day? You see, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism isn't just some abstract concept locked in dusty old books. It's a powerful toolkit designed for real-life challenges. Stoicism teaches us how to embrace control over our reactions, how to respond with clarity, and how to find peace in the chaos of modern living. The most powerful part? It's not about waiting for circumstances to change. It's about transforming your inner world so you can thrive regardless of external noise. If you're tired of being caught in a whirlwind of self-doubt and distractions, it's time to reclaim your power. It's time to learn how to wake up with purpose and shape your reality. Before we dive deeper into how to apply these Stoic practices in your life, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official for more life-changing content. Stay with me. We're about to uncover how to turn each morning into a stepping stone toward a stronger, more resilient you. Number 1. I am capable. Conquer self-doubt and build confidence. We all face moments when doubt creeps in. Perhaps it's when you're preparing for a big presentation, thinking you're not quite ready. Or maybe it's when an opportunity arises and you question if you're capable of handling it. That nagging voice, "I'm not good enough. What if I fail?" holds you back from stepping into your full potential. This is self-doubt at its finest, and it's something we all experience at one point or another. But what if, instead of listening to those thoughts, you could replace them with a simple affirmation, "I am capable"? Just imagine how different your day would look if you started each morning with the firm belief that you have everything within you to succeed. This is where Stoicism shines. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that our greatest power lies in our ability to control our reactions to external events. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In the face of uncertainty, the Stoic response is not to shy away, but to meet it with confidence and composure. That's where the affirmation, "I am capable," comes into play. It's a reminder that you have the inner strength to overcome any challenge. Take, for example, a man who's been given a new leadership role at work. He's excited, but also plagued by self-doubt. He wonders if he's truly qualified or if the team will respect him. But instead of letting these thoughts paralyze him, he chooses to remind himself, "I am capable." With that mindset, he takes action, prepares diligently for meetings, and leads with authenticity. He doesn't wait for perfection. He acts with confidence in his ability to learn and grow, knowing that the strength lies in trying, not in avoiding failure. This simple affirmation doesn't ignore the reality of fear or self-doubt. It acknowledges them and chooses to move forward despite them. It's about shifting your focus away from what you fear and onto what you know you're capable of achieving. The science behind this is rooted in psychology. When you affirm your own capabilities, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and self-control. It's like switching on a mental light that helps you navigate challenges with clarity and confidence. Psychologists call this process self-affirmation, and studies have shown that it boosts self-esteem, reduces stress, and enhances problem-solving abilities. By repeating, "I am capable," you're wiring your brain for resilience, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of success. But building this confidence doesn't stop at words. It requires action. You can't just say, "I am capable," and wait for the magic to happen. You must pair it with deliberate, consistent steps to prove it to yourself. One of the simplest, yet most effective practices is to start your day by listing one skill or success that reinforces your capability. It could be anything, from a task you've mastered to a project you've completed. This small action serves as a powerful reminder of your strengths, shifting the focus from what you fear to what you've already accomplished. The real challenge is staying consistent. It's easy to let the demands of life pull you into a cycle of doubt and distraction. But if you make a habit of affirming your capabilities every morning, paired with deliberate action, you begin to reshape your belief system. Over time, these daily rituals become ingrained, and self-doubt has less power over you. So, next time you find yourself questioning whether you're up to the task, remember the Stoic principle. You are capable. Whether it's taking on a new project, dealing with a tough situation, or simply navigating the uncertainties of life, remind yourself that you have the strength to succeed. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed or uncertain about something new. What would change if, instead of focusing on the challenges, you affirmed your capability and took the first step with confidence? Could this shift in perspective help you rise above self-doubt and embrace the opportunities ahead? Number 2. I shape my reality. Take charge in a distracted world. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications pinging from every device, the endless scroll of social media, and the pressure to constantly be on make it feel like we have no control over our own lives. We are bombarded from all directions, and it's easy to feel as though we are simply reacting to the chaos around us. But what if you could flip the script and take charge, shaping your reality amidst the noise? A woman who works in a fast-paced environment often finds herself struggling to stay focused. Emails flood her inbox, her phone buzzes every few minutes, and something always demands her attention. She used to feel completely overwhelmed, letting external demands dictate her day. But after learning about Stoicism, she adopted the mantra, I shape my reality. Slowly, she started carving out time each day to focus on what really mattered, setting clear boundaries, taking intentional breaks, and blocking time for uninterrupted work. By taking control of her day, she shifted from reactive to proactive, making all the difference. This is the essence of what Stoic philosophy teaches. You are in control of how you respond to external circumstances. The famous Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, the world may be chaotic, but you always have the power to choose how you respond to it. This concept is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. It's easy to get swept up in the hustle, to feel like a passive player in the game of life, but the Stoic approach challenges us to step back, observe, and then make deliberate choices. When we allow external distractions to dominate our time, we essentially give away our power. Think about it. How often do you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through your phone, losing track of time, only to realize you've wasted an hour or more? What could you have done with that time if you had decided to be intentional about it instead? By practicing the Stoic mindset of taking charge, you can reframe these distractions and reshape your reality to align with your goals. The key to shaping your reality starts with acknowledging that you have the power to choose where you focus your attention. But how often do we let ourselves be swayed by the opinions, demands, and distractions of others? It's as if we're constantly running on someone else's agenda. The Stoic mantra of, I shape my reality, is not just about eliminating distractions. It's about becoming deliberate in how we use our time, how we focus our energy, and where we invest our thoughts. Think about the impact of setting boundaries. A man, for example, who used to feel guilty for turning off his phone during family dinners, now feels empowered to create those boundaries. Instead of responding to every email or message, he consciously decides when to check his notifications, carving out sacred time for his personal life. It's a small change, but it brings control back into his hands and helps him focus on what truly matters. This shift in mindset, which could seem like a minor adjustment, has the power to transform his day and his life. In a world full of noise, it's essential to carve out space for meaningful moments. If you're constantly reacting to the world around you, you'll never be able to focus on your true goals. By choosing what deserves your attention, you can begin to shape your reality rather than let distractions shape you. It's about saying no to the constant pull of external demands and yes to your priorities. So the question is, are you in control of your life? Or are you merely reacting to the world around you? Do you let distractions take charge? Or do you consciously decide what deserves your attention? Imagine how different your life could be if you started every day to shape your reality, set boundaries, and reclaim your time. What would happen if you took charge of your day instead of letting it slip away unnoticed? Number 3. I embrace the present. Find peace amid chaos. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel like we're constantly racing from one task to the next. We live in a state of perpetual motion, always planning, always looking ahead. But how often do we stop and truly experience the present moment? How often do we give ourselves the gift of peace amidst the chaos? A woman finds herself overwhelmed with the constant juggle of work, family, and personal responsibilities. Her mind is always buzzing with thoughts about what comes next, meetings to attend, deadlines to meet, and a never-ending list of things to do. One evening, as she sits down to enjoy a rare quiet moment with a cup of tea, her mind races again. Should she be doing something more productive? Is there something she's forgetting? But then, she remembers a key Stoic principle: to embrace the present moment. Instead of allowing herself to be pulled into the whirlwind of thoughts, she focuses on the warmth of the cup in her hands, the steam rising from the tea, and the simple pleasure of the moment. For just a few minutes, she stops fighting the chaos around her and finds peace in the present. This is exactly what Stoic philosophers like Epictetus meant when they emphasized the importance of embracing the present. Don't waste time on what you cannot control, they said. How often do we spend our time and energy dwelling on the past or worrying about the future? We try to control what's already happened or what hasn't even occurred yet. But all of that energy is wasted because the present moment is the only time we truly have. Think about it. How often do you check your phone while in the middle of a conversation, distracted by the thought of something else that needs your attention? Or maybe you're constantly looking ahead to what's next, unable to savor what's happening right now. In those moments, you're missing out on the present, and in turn, missing out on the peace that comes with it. You're already planning the next step before you've even taken the first. And let's face it, it's exhausting. So what would happen if you stopped and fully embraced the present? What if instead of always striving to do more or plan, you allowed yourself to simply be? The Stoics knew that peace wasn't found in the future or the past, but in the present. The present is where we can find peace amid the chaos. It's not about ignoring the challenges or pretending the world isn't demanding. It's about recognizing that the only thing we have control over is how we respond to the moment at hand. Take a man who has always been stressed about his career progression. Every day he worries about promotions, his job performance, and how others perceive him. But when he adopts the Stoic practice of embracing the present, he starts to focus on doing his best now, in this moment, rather than obsessing over what might happen tomorrow. He gives his full attention to the task at hand, whether it's answering emails or having a conversation with a colleague. As a result, he finds himself less stressed and more effective in his work. He has realized that peace doesn't come from chasing after something that hasn't yet arrived. It comes from fully engaging in the present. Why do we so often miss the opportunities for peace right in front of us? Maybe it's because we've been conditioned to believe that we must always be busy, always be planning, always be chasing after the next goal. But in doing so, we forget that the most important thing we can do is focus on what's right in front of us. The present is where we can find clarity, where we can breathe, where we can be our best selves. Have you ever found yourself so focused on the future that you miss what's right in front of you? How many moments of peace have you let slip by because you were too focused on what's next? Imagine how different your life could be if you allowed yourself to embrace the present. You let go of the pressure to always be looking ahead. What would happen if you took a moment to breathe, to focus, and to simply be in the moment? How might your perspective change if you decided to find peace in the chaos, rather than trying to escape it? Number 4. My path is clear. Simplify goals to avoid burnout. A woman stands at her desk staring at a long to-do list. Each item on the list is a task she has to complete, and it seems like the more she crosses off, the longer it gets. Her mind races as she wonders how she can get everything done when it feels like there's no end in sight. Sound familiar? If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the endless demands of your work or personal life, you know the feeling all too well. But what if there was a way to simplify things, to make the path ahead feel clearer and less exhausting? That's where Stoic philosophy comes in. The Stoics believed that to avoid burnout and maintain balance, we must simplify our goals and focus on what truly matters. It's not about doing more, but about doing less, and doing it with intention. A man once found himself in a similar situation. He had big dreams and an even bigger list of goals. But the more he tried to accomplish, the more overwhelmed he became. One day, he decided to step back and take a hard look at his goals. He realized that many of them were distractions, pulling him in different directions. So he simplified. He cut down his list, focused on the most important goals, and found clarity in doing so. By narrowing his focus, he was able to give more attention to the things that truly mattered to him, and the burnout that once seemed inevitable was replaced with a renewed sense of purpose. It wasn't about working harder, but working smarter. Have you ever felt like you were running in circles, never quite reaching your destination? It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that more effort leads to greater results. But in reality, the more we try to juggle, the less effective we become. Think about it. How many of us are guilty of overloading our schedules in the name of productivity? We set multiple goals, thinking that the more we achieve, the happier we'll be. But in the process, we spread ourselves too thin. We start chasing every opportunity, only to find ourselves burned out and wondering where our true passions went. The Stoics understood that true progress isn't about achieving everything at once, but about focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't. Simplifying our goals is an act of self-care. It's about identifying what aligns with our values and giving it the attention it deserves. When we focus on fewer, more meaningful goals, we not only reduce stress, but also increase our chances of success. This is why the Stoics emphasized clarity of purpose. A man who decided to stop chasing every opportunity found that his path became clearer and his actions more deliberate. Instead of scattering his energy in every direction, he channeled it into a few key areas, and that made all the difference. When you simplify your goals, you not only reduce the noise in your life, but also free up mental and emotional energy for the things that truly matter. It's a bit like cleaning out a cluttered room. You can finally see what's important. But let's not forget that this doesn't mean neglecting your dreams or settling for mediocrity. It's about understanding what truly aligns with your deeper values and giving those goals the space to grow. Have you ever felt like your life was cluttered with too many goals and too many distractions? How often do you find yourself exhausted at the end of the day, only to realize that none of your efforts truly brought you closer to the life you want to create? What would happen if you took a step back and simplified your approach? What if you focused only on the goals that truly matter to you, allowing yourself the time and space to invest in them fully? Would your path feel clearer, your efforts more effective, and your sense of fulfillment greater? Take a moment to reflect on your own goals and ask yourself, which ones are truly worth pursuing? Which ones are simply distractions? It's time to clear the clutter and make space for what truly matters. Your path is waiting. Number 5. Excuses do not define me. Overcome procrastination with purpose. A woman sits at her desk staring at the blank page before her. She has a project to finish, but instead of diving in, she finds herself scrolling through social media. She tells herself it's just a quick break, but an hour passes, then 2. The excuses pile up in her mind. I'm not in the right mood. It's too late to start now. I'll do it tomorrow. Sound familiar? If you've ever put off something important with a long list of excuses, you know just how easy it is to fall into the trap of procrastination. But what if there was a better way to handle those moments of hesitation? The Stoics believed that procrastination was a result of a lack of purpose. When we don't feel the weight of our goals, when they don't align with our deeper values, it's easy to put them off. But what happens when you start to connect each task to something bigger? A man once found himself stuck in this very cycle. He had goals he was passionate about, but every time he tried to make progress, excuses would stop him in his tracks. One day, he decided to shift his perspective. Instead of seeing his tasks as chores, he reframed them as opportunities to live out his values. Every action, no matter how small, became a step toward his true purpose. And that shift made all the difference. Procrastination often thrives in the absence of clarity. When we don't have a clear vision of why we're doing something, it becomes much easier to find reasons to delay. But when you know the why, it's easier to break through the wall of excuses. Why do we procrastinate anyway? Is it because we fear failure? Or is it that we simply lack the energy to tackle a big project? It's easy to look for reasons to delay, to convince ourselves that it's not the right time. But in reality, the perfect time is always elusive. If we wait for ideal conditions, we might never get started. Have you ever found yourself waiting for everything to be just right before taking action? How often do we let excuses take the lead, convincing ourselves that the task isn't urgent enough, or that we'll do it later? The Stoic perspective challenges this mindset. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment, it encourages us to take immediate, purposeful action. By eliminating excuses and focusing on the task at hand, we start building momentum. Each small action leads to progress, and that progress fuels our motivation. A woman who had long struggled with procrastination decided to stop waiting for inspiration to strike. Instead, she committed to starting, even when she didn't feel like it. The more she practiced, the more she realized that the key was consistency, not perfection. The Stoics taught that we should not let external circumstances control our actions. When we procrastinate, we're allowing the circumstances, our excuses, to dictate what we do. But when we take purposeful action, we regain control. The man who decided to shift his approach to tasks began to take ownership of his time and choices. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to delay, he saw them as opportunities to practice discipline and resilience. Do you often find yourself caught in the cycle of excuses, convincing yourself that you'll get to it later? Or do you jump into action, regardless of the hurdles that might be in your way? Imagine what could happen if you stopped waiting for the perfect time and just started now. What would change if you embraced each task as a step toward your larger purpose? How much more could you accomplish if you stopped letting excuses define you? It's time to take action. No more waiting, no more excuses. What small step can you take today to overcome procrastination and move closer to your goals? You have the power to make today the day you stop letting excuses control your life. Number 6. I grow stronger daily. Embrace progress over perfection. A woman stands in front of the mirror, eyes scanning the reflection. She's been working for months on her fitness goals. But today, like many others, she notices the small imperfections, an extra pound here, a slight decrease in muscle tone there. It feels like all that hard work should have resulted in perfection by now. But is that the goal? She's tempted to feel frustrated, even defeated. The progress feels too slow, too insignificant. But then something shifts in her mindset. She realizes it's not about the perfect body, but about the progress she's made along the way. That thought changes everything. So often we get caught up in the pursuit of perfection. Whether it's in our careers, our relationships, or our personal goals, we can become obsessed with the idea that everything must be flawless. But perfection, as we know, is often an illusion. The Stoics teach us that true growth doesn't come from striving for an unattainable ideal, but from embracing the journey of constant improvement. Progress, however small, is what truly matters. Why do we get so caught up in perfection when the real power lies in how we handle each small step forward? A man once became discouraged by the slow pace of his progress in learning a new language. Every day, he felt like he was moving backward instead of forward. But one day, as he reviewed his journal, he saw the entries from just a few months prior. His vocabulary had grown, his comprehension improved, and he realized how far he'd actually come. Perfection wasn't the goal. Progress was. He had become better, stronger, and more capable with each passing day, even if it didn't always feel that way. We often make the mistake of measuring our growth based on comparison or the finished product. But growth isn't linear. It doesn't always look the way we expect it to. It's easy to focus on where we fall short, but when we shift our focus to the progress we've made, it changes everything. Have you ever found yourself getting frustrated by how slow things seem to be moving, only to realize that if you look at the bigger picture, you're actually farther along than you thought? Perfectionism is a trap, and it can stop us from celebrating small victories. How many times have you set a goal only to abandon it because you didn't achieve perfection right away? We tend to think that if we can't do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. But the Stoics encourage us to redefine success, not as perfection, but as growth. Even a small, imperfect step forward is still progress. A woman who had spent years building her career learned this lesson the hard way. She used to focus solely on her ultimate goal, and when setbacks occurred, she felt defeated. But over time, she came to see that every obstacle was an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to refine her skills. The goal was not to be perfect, but to be better than she was yesterday. Why do we insist on measuring our worth by perfection? What if instead of obsessing over an idealized version of ourselves, we embraced who we are in this moment, imperfect, growing, and striving for improvement? What would happen if we took the pressure off ourselves to be perfect and simply focused on making progress every day? Would it feel easier to take action, knowing that the journey itself is what matters most? Perfection is a myth, and chasing it only holds us back. Embracing progress, however, empowers us to keep moving forward, even on the days when it feels like we're not making significant strides. Think about your own life. What small step can you take today to move closer to your goal without needing to be perfect? Could embracing progress over perfection be the key to unlocking the strength and growth you're seeking? Number 7. External opinions do not sway me. Build inner resilience. A woman sat at her desk reading through the latest round of feedback on her new project. Some comments were encouraging, but others were harsh, critiquing everything from her approach to the smallest details. She felt the weight of the negative feedback sinking in. It was tempting to let it define her, to take it personally. But instead of getting lost in the criticism, she took a deep breath, reminded herself that she had control over her reactions, and chose not to let the opinions of others dictate her self-worth. We've all been there, doubting ourselves after hearing negative feedback, or letting someone's opinion make us second-guess our choices. It's easy to give others' words more power than they deserve, allowing them to sway our decisions and perceptions. But if we want to live with resilience and strength, we must remember that our true value comes from within, not from what others think or say. As the Stoics would remind us, the opinions of others do not define us. Why do we let external voices shake our confidence so easily? It's human nature to seek approval, but allowing external opinions to control us can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and confusion. A man once spent years trying to fit into societal molds of success, constantly adjusting his actions, words, and behavior to meet others' expectations. He thought it would make him happy, but instead, he found himself exhausted and unfulfilled. He realized he was living for others, not for himself. This was his turning point. He stopped seeking validation from the outside and started focusing on what truly mattered to him. The result? Inner peace and the confidence to pursue his goals unapologetically. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The power of inner resilience lies in knowing that we cannot control the opinions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. People will always have something to say, whether it's about our work, our choices, or even our personalities. But instead of letting those opinions shape who we are, we must remember that we have the ability to decide what we believe about ourselves. Does the criticism of a stranger really hold more weight than your own beliefs? Why allow someone else's judgment to dictate the direction of your life? Think about it. When was the last time you let someone's opinion get under your skin? How did it affect your decisions? Did you feel empowered, or did it leave you questioning yourself? Imagine if you had resisted the urge to internalize that feedback and instead trusted your own judgment. What would your life look like if you stopped letting others' opinions dictate your sense of worth and direction? External opinions can be constructive, yes, but only if we choose to see them as opportunities for growth. There's no need to take everything personally. In fact, when we rely solely on others for validation, we are giving them power over our own happiness. But by building inner resilience, we can transform feedback into something useful, without letting it shake our sense of self. By cultivating a strong sense of self-belief, we can filter through external noise and choose what truly matters to us. What if, instead of letting the outside world influence how we feel about ourselves, we built a foundation that was solid enough to stand firm no matter what others say? How much more freedom would we feel? How much more empowered would we be if we knew that our worth wasn't up for debate? The next time you hear something negative or find yourself swayed by others' opinions, pause. Ask yourself, what do I believe about this situation? Focus on your values, your goals, and your progress. It's in this inner strength that true resilience is built. Resilience that allows us to face criticism, learn from it when appropriate, and then move forward unshaken. After all, as the Stoics wisely remind us, what we do in life echoes in eternity. And our actions, rooted in our own beliefs, will always be far more lasting and meaningful than the fleeting opinions of others. In today's video, we explored some key Stoic principles that can transform how we approach life. We discussed the importance of embracing the present, simplifying our goals, overcoming procrastination, embracing progress over perfection, and building inner resilience. By applying these ideas, we can lead more intentional, fulfilling lives. The key takeaway? Consistent practice is essential. Just as muscle strengthens with regular use, these Stoic principles can become second nature with time. Imagine starting each day with clarity, facing challenges with purpose, and not letting external opinions control your peace. It's all possible if we commit to integrating these lessons into our daily lives. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these Stoic insights resonated with you the most? How do you plan to apply them in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation. We're all on this journey together, learning and growing. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official. We've got more inspiring content coming your way, so stay tuned. Remember, the journey to a resilient, purposeful life begins with one small step. What will yours be today?